everyone, it's Mrs. O, and I'm here to read to you today, Wednesday, a story that I haven't read in a very long time called Mr. McMouse by Leo Lionni. And Leo Lionni has many, many, many wonderful stories. So here we go. All right. Whenever Timothy saw himself in the mirror, he felt happy. "What a good-looking city mouse I am," he thought. But one day, instead of himself, Timothy saw a strange creature dressed in black staring at him from the mirror. He jumped back, let out a shriek, and ran for his life. Timothy ran out of the building that had been his home from the day he was born, and he kept running all the way to the outskirts of town. Only when he came to the country road did Timothy dare to slow down and think things over. What had happened? Where could he go? He knew that he couldn't go back home. No one would recognize him in his new disguise. Oh, he had no choice. He had to go on. But first, he needed a quiet place to rest. It was not long before he found a charming spot where tall weeds grew among colorful round pebbles. As he was catching his breath, he heard a noise. Some field mice were observing him from behind the large boulders. They looked frightened. Timothy was frightened too. How could he possibly explain that he was nothing but an ordinary, innocent city mouse? Suddenly, the weeds parted, and a little field mouse stepped boldly forward. "Hello," she said. "I'm Spinny. What's your name?" I'm, mumbled Timothy, confused. The field mice stared at him. Spinny smiled. "Never mind," she said. "I'll give you a name, Mr. McMouse." Timothy was surprised. "How did you know I was a mouse?" "Well, who else but a mouse would have a tail like yours?" said Spinny. Then, as the other mice went about their business, Spinny pointed to a beautiful mound of boulders. "We live over there in the castle. Come with me. Perhaps you can stay with us," she said. Timothy, who felt that he had found a friend, was happy to follow her. As they went, Spinny explained all the things he should know and do if he chose to live in the castle. "If you want to stay for good," she warned, "you will have to get a field mouse license. And for that, you'll have to pass some tests. But don't worry, I'll arrange everything." The very next day, the tests began, and the first one was the tickleberry test. "You see, field mice don't eat cheese," Spinny told Timothy. "Only nuts, berries, and grain. But that will be easy. Tickleberries are delicious." When the mice had assembled on the test ground, Spinny led Timothy to the berry heap. She then climbed high into the lookout tree to watch the show. But alas, the test did not last long. After a few berries, Timothy gave up. "I'm sorry," he said. "I just can't eat fairies. They make me sick." Next, Timothy was supposed to run to the heather field and back, but he got only as far as the field, where Bony Back the turtle found him lying in the heather, hopelessly out of breath. "Here is Mr. McMouse," said Bony Back. "He was lucky to find a cab." Everyone laughed, except for Timothy. He knew that without a license, he would have to leave. Now, there was one more test left, the tree climbing test. "Cheer up, Mr. McMouse," said Spinny. "I am sure you can pass this one." Timmy got off to a good start, but when he was halfway up the trunk, Spinny saw a black cat slowly nearing the tree. Its muscles were taut, ready for a leap. "Cat!" she yelled as loud as she could. In less than a second, all the mice had disappeared. Only Timothy and Spinny were still running. Only Timothy and Spinny were still running, the cat a few feet behind. Just as the cat was about to pounce on them, Timothy saw an old rusty trap lying half hidden in the weeds. "Inside!" he shouted, pulling Spinny with him. The cat slid to a sudden halt. "What now?" said Spinny in a desperate little voice. "You'll see," said Timothy, pulling Spinny as close to the back of the wall as he could. The cat hesitated, yawned, and laid down right in front of the trap. Timothy smiled mysteriously. "Don't worry," he whispered. Then he looked at the cat straight in the eye and, with the softest voice he could muster, he sang this lullaby. "Close your eyes and call your sheep. Count them as they run and leap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All these sheep will go to heaven. Go to sleep, it's getting late. Dreams will bring you number 8. Well, by now the cat was perfectly snoring away. "This is our moment, Spinny," Timothy whispered. They tiptoed out of the trap and off they ran. On License Day, groups of the chatty mice gathered in Castle Square. When finally the head mouse called Spinny and Timothy to the speaker stand, there was thundering applause. For by now every mouse in the castle knew their story. And when the head mouse handed Timothy an honorary field mouse license and Spinny a special medal for bravery, happier mice had never been seen. Okay, and now I'm going to read you about Leo Lionni, about the author, the person that wrote this. Leo Lionni was born in Holland and taught himself to draw by copying the work of an old master in Amsterdam's museums. He received a PhD in economics from the University of Genoa in Italy and came to this country in 1939 with his wife Nora and their 2 young sons. He has been involved in the world of geographic arts, in the world of graphic arts ever since then. Internationally recognized as an artist. Okay. And if you go to the library, you will recognize his artwork because all of his books, he does the artwork in it, and they all have, I don't know, it's something in common. They all have that look to them. All right, guys, that's it for today, Wednesday. I hope you have a great day. See you next Wednesday. Bye-bye.